All right, thank you very much, Cover Being. We grateful and honored to be on this edition of the show, and that after that relay from State Radio ERBC. Today we have of us the team from the Gender and Security Taskforce of Liberia, and I will have of us the coordinator from the Ministry of Justice, Mrs. Soma. Mrs. Soma, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Is it Mrs. Soma or just Soma?
I'm Mrs. Maud Molva Soma.
Molva Soma. I'm of course. Also have the gender coordinator of the Ministry of Gender.
Defense.
Ministry of Defense, I'm sorry. Madam Carr, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
I'm grateful to have both of you here this morning.
I'm also feeling the same because coming in studio is nothing new to me. This is our business, and so being here this morning to talk about gender activities within the security sector is a great pleasure.
Okay, that's good. Let's just go strictly into it. Firstly, for the sake of our audience, let's just start by telling them what is this Gender and Security Taskforce all about?
So, in a nutshell, the Gender National Security Sector Taskforce is a working group within the security sector. This group came about in March 2017 at the time when we had one male still in the country working through the security sector reform. Heads of security institutions met at the Ministry of National Defense, to be precise, and agreed that there was a need to have a Gender and Security Sector National Task Force wherein we would ensure that gender is mainstreamed within the security sector of Liberia. Every security institution would have a working gender unit which is fully operational, and so it was documented and agreed upon, and that was not only from that aspect, but we did have senior management from the security institutions forming part of that particular event. We also have international partners, and we had like one civil society group, Voice of the Voiceless, who've always been with us in all of our activities that we have. And we do have a work plan for the task force. And to be more clear, the task force is not just about females. When you talk about gender, it does not speak just to female, it speaks about men, women, boys, and girls. So for the purpose of this task force, we have come to let you know that the task force is meant to build capacities of security officers, civilians working within the security apparatus as well, building their capacities, ensuring that they have equal opportunities, ensuring that they have a gender-friendly environment to do their various work in the different institutions they find themselves.
Okay, and that's good. I've tried following, besides reading the document, I tried following the Facebook page of it, and I saw the donations the institution has been doing along with the training. Let's go to the Ministry of National Defense, where our army, women and men are. With this gender security, what role you are playing in there? I know it is out of the security sector, but exactly the gender, the defense ministry.
Okay, the Ministry of Defense, firstly, is a co-chair of the National Gender and Security Task Force. We co-chair along with the Ministry of Gender. And so we play a pivotal role in this task force because we promote gender, we mainstream gender at the Ministry of National Defense. And at the Ministry of National Defense, you are not denied or deprived promotion or any opportunity that comes because of your sex. Whether you are a male or female, it is strictly based on competence. So once you are competent, once you meet the mark, you are able to excel. So that means everyone has an opportunity to grow in their professional career, whether male or female. We do not encourage any form of discrimination at the level of the Ministry of National Defense. Yes. And secondly, before you come in, because I see you want to come in, we also help in coordinating the efforts of the task force. We work with this task force, which is a forum for gender focal points of different security institutions. and we meet, we discuss, we make plans to see how best we can infuse, gender issues in the national agenda. Yes.
And that's it. And normally, if you talk about gender mainstreaming, it's mostly talking about exactly the right of women in the job sector. In this point, the security sector of Liberia, looking at the past where you've had low women representation, looking at the past where women have been overlooked in the security sector, how has this changed since this task force was placed?
It has changed greatly, and for me, I am with the civilian component.
Okay.
That is the administrative arm of the Ministry of National Defense. And I can tell you that I am a beneficiary because I entered the Ministry of National Defense as a high school graduate. And with time, we were given the opportunity to go to school, get our degrees, and grow in the system. We were not deprived because we were, females, no. And if you follow the recent trend, you see today we have the first female who is the Deputy Chief of Staff, Colonel Geraldine George, General George now. So the Ministry of Defense is actually pushing the issue of female representation at decision-making levels. Now, at the Ministry of Defense, we have directors who are females. In the past, it was not like that. As I said earlier, when I joined the Ministry of National Defense, when we go to meetings, you will see around the table, the high table, you will see only men discussing issues. But today, you see a mixture of males, females around the table. So we have the opportunity to bring our perspective into decision making.
That's right. Which is more in addition to that. What has changed over the years?
What have changed, I would be more focused within the Ministry of Justice, okay. That is specifically the Bureau of Corrections and Rehabilitation. You will note that in past times, people perception about being a correction officer is just like maybe you're just there to wear the uniform, and sit at any of the prison facilities and take care of inmates. Now, because of the task force and the involvement of OMIL, like I said earlier, OMIL did have this Correction Advisory Unit at the prison facilities. Today, Liberia can boast of having our BCR officers serving as peacekeepers. And among them, we have 3 females who are doing exceptionally well. As I speak, they are currently in country on break. And this is a clear indication that we are making headways. To add on to that, we have trainings going on for our coordinators. Recently, the UN Women had a training that ran from the 12th to the 26th for all of our prison facilities for gender focal persons. So you can see that it is now taking a new dimension. Correction officers or even security personnel within other security institutions now know that wearing a uniform is not all to it, but there's something more than just wearing a uniform, and gender issues must be trickled down for everyone to be a part of.
The problem with gender issue, if you go, people believe that the men are more educated, they are more capacitated than the women. So you are challenged with that, even within the home, and that is the issue. I know a lot of the security sectors, they're also part of it. So how is this task force ensuring that women are capacitated to the level of the men to ensure that this complex that they have, that they feel inferior to the men, is swept away?
Okay, so this is where we come in as a task force, and I will want to start from the head. The task force, we do have a structure.
Okay.
The Minister of Justice is the head of the task force, but there are 2 ministers working along who are chairs. We call them the Defense Minister and the Minister of Gender.
Okay.
So beneath that, you have the advisors from the 3 ministries that I just mentioned. So those advisors are the steering committee members. Then we do have 3 consultants. We have a public information officer. We do have a gender consultant who have a very big task to do, that is to make sure that gender coordinators are groomed.
Okay. We
are being mentored. How do we do reports? How do we ensure that gender is happening? And like you asked, what do we do to ensure that women within the security sector are growing from one stage to another, where they will believe in themselves, understanding that they can do just as their male counterparts can do. We have had series of training programs. We had a computer literacy program that ran for a period of 3 months. We anticipated training 30 persons, but we ran into a total number of 45 persons. We also had a course, advanced course at the Kofi Annan Institute for Conflict Transformation, Women, Peace and Security, an advanced course where we had lecturers coming from universities in the diaspora.
Okay.
And that course also was for a period of 3 months. We anticipated 30 persons, like I said. We had 60 persons, and out of that number, we had close to 34 females. So you can see that the women are being challenged. And now it is so competitive that you don't want to see yourself being at the same level. If you see your colleague being promoted, if you watch your colleague performing exceptionally, it becomes a challenge to you where you will sit and say, indeed, I think I can do this. So what we are saying to them that when opportunities come, make use of those opportunities. It's no time to sit in the back. You can perform, you can do just as your male counterparts are doing. And just to tell you now, we have women within the security sector who, through the task force, are now bold enough to stand and, speak out. It's not about, forcing. It's about constructive engagement. It's about pointing out to those things that you consider to be your strengths, because like I often say, you are a queen in your own palace. Believing in yourself, believing that you can make a mark. It's not about sleeping with the bosses. It's not about, sharing elbows with people who you think should push it for you. You drive your own vehicle. If there's an opportunity, take advantage of the opportunity and do your best so that people out there in the diaspora will know when you get there, when we're talking about security personnel from Liberia, indeed, you can stand and make a difference.
Okay, the gender coordinator, let's start with the both of you. Your role, what specific role, let's start with the Ministry of Defense that you play at the ministry, at your ministry. What role as a coordinator for the gender task force?
In addition to being an advisor, I'm also an advocate.
Okay.
Yes, I promote gender issues. I try to create awareness because, like you said, how are we helping our women to come on par with the men? It is true. In time past, our women did not believe in themselves. But through giving them awareness, and you can make it. You can do whatever you want to do. You are a woman, you have your power. And then I also try to engage administration constructively to help them to understand the essence of this task force. You see, because when we become slack, when we become silent, it is a high possibility that this issue must slip back under the carpet. So now that we have come out, we want to remain out. We want to continue to exert ourselves. And so that is the major thing that I do. And I also work strongly with Maud, who is the head of the task force on the advisory level. And we work to ensure that our women, we can meet regularly, we can discuss issues, as I said earlier, we can put our points together and see how best we can encourage other females and men to come on board, because there are men too who believe in the cause. We have the he for she, yeah. Unlike some people who just think that, oh, gender, women just want, because you are a woman, you want to be promoted. Yes, that is not what we want.
There are people who will bully you for advocacy.
Yes, they want to bully us for that, but that is not what we want. I say to people, we don't want...
So how do you respond to these people?
I tell them, I say, we don't want anything on silver platter. For me, I don't want anything on silver platter, and neither does any of our women. We want to be given the opportunity that we deserve. So if I am qualified for this position, my point is I should not be denied because I am a woman. If I merit this position, let me have it. So it's not like just promote me because I'm a woman.
But sometimes people believe that sometimes you may have the education, but they believe that you are weak and that you may not be able to exercise real administrative practices. So because of that, we think we should have a strong male who want to exert power, exert authority, and get things done.
That has always been the challenge, but it's also left with you as a woman, as that gender-focused person, to continuously exert yourself. When you do that, your male counterpart will see that you know what you are up to, and they will believe in you and they will respect you for that.
Yes, and I give you an example. When you as a female are well schooled, knowing what your career or your profession is. Understanding that you have a task to perform. I often say justify your inclusion. You're going to come to a point where you will be left alone independently to perform. Are you going to say, oh, I did not get this other thing, so I cannot do it, or this person did not? It's going to be a period where you're not going to be shifting blame. All you have to do is to perform the tasks to the best of your ability so that others can see that you can do it. And then I heard you talking about being strong. So if I were to make a comparison between a male and a female, I would throw it back to you then. What yardstick would you use to determine as to being strong, comparing a woman to a male? Because I think to every job description, there is a TOR which you have to conform to. And if you got to do that job, it doesn't matter if you're a female. If the job TOR says you have to walk this route, you have to walk that route. But wherein we are now still saying and looking at 1325 to be our very strong instrument, what are those things that are offered for male and females? What do they look like? Are they feasible? Is it gender friendly? Because sometimes in making some of the policies and what have you, you have to take into consideration that a male is not constructed as a female biologically, and we are not responsible for that.
Okay, let's come. You know you are the coordinator and you coordinate all the security institutions. I want to know what is it that other security females in the security sector say to you as their major challenges at their various institutions. What are they saying to you?
Basically, we have problems like capacity.
Okay.
Okay. The women, most of the women, and sometimes it's not that they are not able to perform.
Okay.
But I think the issue also has to do with this issue of maybe favoritism, because I'm not favored by this person, so I'm not allowed or I'm not given the opportunity to perform. There are also issues like one woman feeling that if I go and perform this task and my boss come and see me doing this, because maybe he or she does not believe in what I'm doing, he's going to silence me. So you notice that there are a couple of issues. Some of the institutions will tell you we don't have space for gender unit. But I will be very thankful. I want to inform the public that through the help of UN Women and OMIL, we have had all of our gender units fully functional with equipment, logistical support, and that in itself is a boost. And today they are functioning, and coming up very shortly we are going to do additional supply of office equipment so that our people can work effectively. We also have few of our gender units that do not have, or let's say the security institutions, who are still scrambling to do a gender policy.
Okay.
Without the gender policy, you cannot effectively function as a gender unit. So in that capacity, UNDP comes in also to help in the process. We're going to do gender policies also for like the Ministry of Justice. It will surprise you that the Ministry of Justice being the head or the lead in this course, we do not have a working gender policy, but BCR do have. Okay. So it is in this light that we are asking them, can you do one working gender policy that would be in line? Yes, integrated one. But specifically, each security institution will have their own policy. But there will be one core activity or one core thing that will be synchronized, and all of you will find it a one commonality in all of the security institutions, and it will be embedded in that. Not to forget, the Ministry of Gender do have a national gender policy, or plan, working plan. So we cannot do anything without visiting that national action plan. And in the national action plan, where 1325 is the key working tool that we have, there are 4 pillars. So those 4 pillars we talk about in the national action plan, you notice that pillar 1 is protection, pillar 2 is prevention, pillar 3 is participation, and of course pillar 4 talks about promotion, that is creating awareness on gender issues.
Okay, so like you were talking about challenges in all of the working places where you have problem with women is the issue of sexual harassment sometimes. I don't know whether you've had any report of it, or sometimes bosses want a female to give their body before they get promotion or before they get a particular job. First, it needs to be an issue in Liberia. I don't know. What's the report of it right now?
right now, you know, it's a sticky issue because such things, once they are not reported, you know, you can't act or you can't do anything about it. Sometimes it is based on consensus, which should not be, but they are grown adults and they decide to do what they do. For most bosses who are very professional in going about their job will not do that. But at the Ministry of National Defense, I can speak for my entity, we've not had cases of that nature where you will have women reporting that have been harassed sexually or have been denied promotion or denied an opportunity because I've refused sexual favors to my boss or supervisor. So we've not had cases like that.
Ministry of Justice?
Yes, so on the overall, the issue of sexual harassment, and that is also form part of our working activities, that is SEAs. We want to see how we can work along with SGBV, and you will ask me, SGBV crime unit falls under the Ministry of Justice. They are into prosecutorial aspect of gender. So yes, I will say, wherever there are reports of harassment, sexual harassment, maybe between security officers or security officer and civilian, and or maybe like the corrections where maybe an inmate being harassed sexually by an officer, or you know, officer to officer, I would say yes, but the issue is that BCRO has got a code of conduct now, because there is a certain gender unit and there are also other heads within that bureau. They will channel it through, and if there is no redress, then it is brought to the attention of the task force, and we have to do it carefully and on factual basis, because you don't want to delve into something that you cannot prove.
That's right.
Whatever we do in that area, we base on evidence. So the other areas wherein if there are any reports of sexual harassment or sexual exploitation, as far as we are concerned, we have not had one on the book yet. But what we have seen over the period of time is wherein perhaps if a female officer is being denied, then we can constructively, like I say, respectfully disrespect, meaning that we're not going to be rude in our approach, meaning that we're going to observe that these people are our bosses, but we stand to the fact and to the norms that we were established to ensure that gender is mainstream, to ensure that women and men have equal opportunities. And because this is a female and we are pointing to 1325, we're going to meet our bosses and say this is what we receive. And like I often say to our members of the task force, we are not going to work on verbal basis. If you have an issue, reduce it to documentation. We take it from that level and engage senior management. Probably there could be an issue where one person says, I am the gender coordinator, but because there is a change in administration now, I am being pushed, or this person is brought in, we don't just take it off face. We have to understand the nitty-gritty. We have to know what is obtaining from within. How do we do that? We have conducted assessment to see whether the gender units are functional, to see whether the coordinators are working indeed, because we did not create those units for you to just sit there and have it like a fashion room. No, you have to work. How do we know you are working? Our gender consultant will do our assessment, which you've done 1 or 2 times. At the same time, we need to see reports from the job that you are doing and also get a feedback from the bosses. Unfortunately, we have a situation where we're just having a new government, so heads of security institutions are now new faces. So what we have done is we had an acquaintance meeting with the heads to let them know exactly what we're doing, and we were privileged to have had the Deputy Minister for Administration and Public Safety and the Attorney General of the Republic of Liberia seated in that meeting, a high-level meeting. We had the Swedish ambassador who's been a very strong advocate for the job that we do. We've had the Deputy IG from Liberia National Police, Honorable Rees, who was also part of that meeting. So you see, we're working as a body. We want to make sure that things are happening.
Okay, so we almost sort of. So, what do you want to achieve at the end of the day? Actually, perhaps your task force may not be a task force that will last perpetually. At the end of the day, what do you want to achieve?
Do you go first? You go first.
Okay. At the end of the day, what we hope to achieve is to have women who are confident in themselves, women who know that they can be whatever they want to be. You know, everybody enter his or her career with aspirations, with dreams. You want to excel. You are here, you are a journalist, you want to excel in whatever career you find yourself in. So if you are being denied of that opportunity because of your gender, it becomes